We've got another question. It's one also about investing. He says, how do you guys decide which ETFs or index funds to invest in? I will be dollar cost averaging the next 3 years. And he says, can anyone recommend a good book, article, video, or your own experience to help me form a strategy for investing in index funds for the next few years? I plan to dollar cost average. I'm thinking of splitting my money between a real estate ETF, tech, healthcare, and or general S&P 500 type or international fund. So what do you guys think?
Well,
he's already sort of has a strategy.
Yeah,
that's because the dollar cost averaging is the strategy, especially if you're going to do it with index funds. So I guess the real question is, picking index funds, because it doesn't, he lists some specific ones beyond just your standard S&P 500 follows the market type of funds.
Well, part of it is this is where you need to start looking into what the fund really invests in. So when you look at these funds, they always have their top 10 holdings, top 20 holdings. And it's amazing how many of them have the same stocks, even though they claim they're different things. Real estate is going to be probably different than most of the others. But it's, what industries do you like? What industries do you think are going to do well in the future? I mean, I'm not sure buying a car company ETF is the world's greatest idea in this day and age, but at one time it probably was. But I remember looking previously on one of these episodes at a couple of funds that Vanguard had, and they had completely different names. You wouldn't have thought they were the same thing at all. But out of their top 10 holdings in each fund, I think 7 of the stocks were the same. So if you're going for that diversity, you have to make sure that the funds you're buying are diverse from each other. It's really easy for basically everything to own Alphabet, Google, because it's so big and they're involved in so many things. But that's not diversifying yourself if everything you own has Google. So I think that would be the research you have to do is on the funds as to what they own. And then, look at their returns, because if it's not a S&P 500 ETF, then it's not just doing what the S&P 500 is doing. It's doing what that industry is necessarily doing. And that could be completely different.
Right. And I think, you bring up a great point, looking at each fund for, to make sure you're diversified, but then diversifying, I think they listed a couple of ETFs, tech, healthcare. You can get funds for tech, for healthcare that specifically we're going to go after these kinds of companies, and that's all that's in the fund. And, just case in point, if you had one of these tech funds and you put all your money there instead of the S&P 500, you were looking pretty good from when COVID started until 6 months ago. You were killing the market. And now, a lot of this market loss is a result of these tech companies coming off their highs. And so you would be way below the market. So there's diversification even within that is, don't put, I won't put a specific number on it, but, don't put 80, I'll say 80% because that's just so high, 80% into just tech. There's a level of diversification within that. If you're buying 2 tech funds, make sure those are diversified from each other. But then even within that, make sure, I've got some in tech, I've got some in healthcare, I've got some in real estate, if you're not going to go the S&P 500 route.
Well, and even within, say, real estate. So if you're buying REITs or REIT funds or something, or real estate funds, you can get healthcare fund, real estate fund. You can get commercial real estate fund. You can get warehouse real estate fund, apartment real estate funds, shopping center real estate funds. So they will slice and dice the market as many ways as you could possibly want. You just have to decide what you like, what you think is good. For instance, I'm not a big fan of shopping centers. I don't shop. I don't understand. Even though I used to run and manage a very large portfolio of shopping centers. I didn't like them. So, but I love apartments. So I would much rather invest in apartment real estate than shopping center real estate. Doesn't mean shopping center is bad. Just, I don't like it.
I'm sure they'll be sad to hear that, Frank.
Well,